The Pontiac GTO is the dig racing GOAT. Welcome to another episode of ModStars. I'm your host, Z. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And from 04 to 06, we got the last generation of the Pontiac GTO. For anybody that's not in the States, this is known as a Holden Monaro. Now, initially, it had a 5.7-liter LS1 V8 producing 350 horsepower and 365 pound-feet of torque to the crank. And from 05 on, it had a 6-liter LS2 V8 producing 400 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque to the crank as well. These came with either a Tremec 6-speed manual or a 4-speed 4L60 or 4L65E automatic transmission. These weighed about 3,700 pounds, and in the used market, on average, you can find them anywhere from 15 to 20 grand. And that's pretty impressive considering how rare they are. You can find them for less, about 10 grand or so. Just know they're going to be a little rough around the edges. If you don't mind that, then go ahead and have fun. Now, preventative maintenance mods kind of deal here. The 3/8 Russell line, it's about 30 bucks. You want to replace that, simply put, so the engine doesn't catch fire. You can also get the 3/8 disconnect. You can get a kit for it, whether it's plastic or aluminum disconnect. You can find these anywhere for 12 to 15 bucks. And the Mighty Mouse catch can, something that a lot of LS builds benefit from. I recommend them. No, they're not sponsoring me at all. They go for about 280 bucks to 350 bucks, depending on which LS you have. Now, this is going to be a budget build, so heads cam type of approach here. Take the factory heads, use what you got, port and polish them. For the LS1, you can get an LS6 cam like the one from the C5 Z06. Found one of these for about 400 bucks, along with the valve springs for about another 90 or so. Or for the LS2 guys, you could either do an LS9 cam, which is relatively cheap, about 280 or so from what I can find. And this sounds really good. Apparently there's a mid-range drop or loss of power, but if you're going to supercharge the car, I wouldn't worry about that. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, though. Otherwise, you can get the Texas Speed 224R cam, which goes for about 400 bucks as well. Whether you have the LS2 or the LS1, this is a very popular cam that people go with. Now, as far as gearing goes, whether it's a manual transmission car or the automatic ones, recommend a 373 gears. And a popular mod for the automatic GTOs is a high stall torque converter. Now, you can get one for a 2500 stall for 360. I believe that's from ZZP. Or a 3500 stall from TCI for about 800. I know it's a huge gap in price, but it's worth it. And I say that because of this. If you have a manual car with a 3.7 gear, it's going to take off. It's going to do very well for what it is. Now, if you add that rear end with a high stall torque converter and an automatic car, as long as it hooks, that thing is taking off like a teenager at a K-pop concert. So, and it's going to happen every single time. Now, let me get back to this really quick. I mentioned the LS9 cam and supercharging. Yeah, you can get the Vortex supercharger. It's a little on the high side, like 7 grand or so. But there's also the Torque Storm supercharger kit, which is really the best bang for buck supercharger company out right now, in my opinion. For the GTO, they range anywhere from 38 to 4,600 bucks. For an extra 150 horsepower or so that they're claiming, that's a pretty good deal. But we're going to stick with the all-motor build stuff today. I just want to throw that in there. Lastly, of course, you got the HP tuners, and according to the VCM and credits that I could find, again, it's another 650. Now, not including labor, based on the parts range on price and the car's price range as well, we're talking anywhere from 18 grand to 23 grand, period. Something that's going to pretty much consistently run a healthy 350 plus horsepower, or even over 400 horsepower, depending on how well this stuff is done and who your tuner is and how you drive. And you might be thinking, well, that's not that much power. No, but it's enough, especially for dig racing. Here's why I say that. I'll leave a link in the description as well. Comparing a red GTO in this video, which is the all motor one with a stall, versus the yellow GTO that's supercharged. And it's a quarter-mile race, mind you. Yeah, the yellow one won, but visually, it wasn't by much. It was nearly door-to-door race. And, they probably spent about 10 grand on that supercharger. And you're spending for, bolt-ons, cam, and stall, and maybe a tire package, less than 5 grand, probably. So that's something to think about. And also, in addition to this, for the price range, for the price point of the car and these mods, it's less than, you know, Corvettes, Scat Packs, and a lot of other things out there. So, yeah, and they're rare too. This is practically, and if you know, in my opinion, kind of car. And they're a unicorn in a sense. So I'm surprised they're not more. I'm glad they're not, but I'm surprised they're not at the same time. Let me know what you guys think. Do you have a GTO? Would you get one? What would you do with it? Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and share. If you don't know, now you know, but do what you want to do.